I was at Macy's just last week grabbing some holiday decorations, and it really hit me. We all love a good deal there, especially this time of year. But lately, Macy's has been making headlines for something far less festive, a financial mystery that could have ripple effects for the entire retail world. Today, we're taking a deep dive into the recent turmoil at Macy's. Using a Fast Company article that really caught my eye, it's a story about alleged fraud pressure from investors and a company trying to reinvent itself in a rapidly changing landscape. Talk about a holiday shopping challenge. So the bombshell dropped when Macy's announced an internal investigation into an employee accused of concealing expenses, and not a small amount either. We're talking somewhere between $132 and $154 million over several years. They also delayed their earnings report and pushed back their full financial outlook until December. Now, that's a red flag for investors.
Absolutely. And to understand why, think about a company like GameStop back in 2021. When their financial outlook became uncertain, it triggered massive volatility in their stock price. The same principle applies here. A delayed outlook creates doubt, and the market hates doubt. Macy's might be facing a similar storm, especially with this alleged fraud looming large to slum.
And get this, the alleged fraud wasn't some elaborate scheme, but rather something much more insidious. The employee who handles small package delivery expense accounting apparently used fake entries to cover up discrepancies. It makes you wonder if seemingly minor expenses can be manipulated like this. What else could be lurking beneath the surface?
It's a troubling thought, and it points to a potential vulnerability in expense accounting across many companies. The fact that this went on for several years at Macy's suggests potential weaknesses in their internal controls. This investigation could uncover broader issues within their accounting practices, which is never a good look for a company trying to reassure investors.
It's definitely not the kind of press Macy's needs right now, especially with their CEO, Tony Spring, emphasizing ethical conduct in a recent statement. Clearly, they're trying to contain the damage. But the impact on their reputation is undeniable.
That statement from the CEO is a classic example of damage control. Remember Wells Fargo and their fake accounts scandal? They faced intense scrutiny and a serious hit to their image. Macy's is trying to avoid a similar fate. But regaining public trust will be an uphill battle. They need to prove that this was an isolated incident and that they're taking concrete steps to prevent future breaches.
And this alleged fraud is just one piece of a much larger puzzle. Macy's has been wrestling with activist investors who recently pushed for a buyout, a move that was ultimately rejected. Then there's their ongoing turnaround effort, which involves investing in some stores while closing others. It's a lot to juggle, even for a retail giant.
You're absolutely right. Activist investors can be a mixed bag. Sometimes they bring fresh ideas and push for positive change, but they can also create instability and force short-sighted decisions. Remember when Bill Ackman got involved with JCPenney? His aggressive turnaround strategy ultimately backfired, and the company struggled to recover. Macy's needs to be careful not to fall into a similar trap.
It's like they're trying to walk a tightrope, balancing these external pressures with their own internal challenges. And all of this is happening against the backdrop of a rapidly changing retail landscape.
Precisely. Traditional department stores like Macy's are facing an existential crisis. The rise of online shopping, evolving consumer preferences, and increased competition have created a perfect storm. To survive, they need to find a way to differentiate themselves and offer something truly unique.
Speaking of survival, Macy's did release some preliminary results for the third quarter. Overall sales declined, but same-store sales were better than expected. Their first 50 stores, the ones they've been heavily investing in, showed a sales increase. Bloomingdale's and Bluemercury, which are also owned by Macy's, are performing well too. So there are some glimmers of hope amidst the turmoil.
Those Q3 results are a bit of a mixed bag, and they highlight a key challenge for Macy's differentiation. The success of their first 50 stores suggests their strategy of investing in flagship locations might be working. The strong performance of Bloomingdale's and Bluemercury reinforces the importance of catering to specific market segments. The question is, can they replicate that success across their entire portfolio?
And looming over all of this is the holiday season, which is make or break time for most retailers. With this investigation hanging over their heads and a delayed financial outlook, how will consumers react? Will they shop at Macy's with the same confidence they once did?
That's the million-dollar question. Remember what happened to Chipotle after their food safety issues? It took them years to fully recover consumer trust. Macy's needs to be proactive and transparent if they wanted to avoid a similar fate.
So what we have here is a company facing challenges on multiple fronts: internal issues, external pressures, and a rapidly evolving market. It's a situation that demands decisive action and innovative thinking. Stay with us as we continue our deep dive into Macy's and explore the wider implications of this unfolding saga.
This whole situation with Macy's, it's like a microcosm of what's happening at the wider retail landscape. It's a story of disruption, adaptation, and the struggle to stay relevant in a world that's increasingly shifting online.
Yeah, it's almost like we're seeing a classic David versus Goliath scenario play out in real time. On one side, you have these legacy retailers like Macy's with their vast physical footprints and decades of history. And on the other side, you have these online giants led by Amazon, who are rewriting the rules of the game. So how can a company like Macy's compete in this new reality? What are their options?
Well, it's certainly not an easy feat. They can't simply ignore the online world and hope that shoppers will magically return to their stores in droves. They need to find ways to bridge the gap between the physical and digital realms, creating a seamless experience for customers who are increasingly comfortable shopping across multiple channels.
Okay, that makes sense. So we're talking about things like buy online, pick up in store, or maybe even using those physical stores as mini fulfillment centers for online orders, basically turning their brick and mortar locations into assets in the digital world.
Exactly. It's about leveraging their existing infrastructure in new and creative ways. But it's not just about logistics. It's also about understanding the modern consumer and what they're looking for in a shopping experience. Today's shoppers are more discerning, more value conscious, and more experience-driven than ever before. They want more than just a transaction. They want a connection, a story, a sense of community.
That's interesting. So are you saying that Macy's needs to become more than just a department store? That they need to evolve into something more experiential, more community-oriented?
In a sense, yes. They need to offer something that online retailers can't replicate, something that draws people into their stores and keeps them coming back. This might involve creating unique in-store experiences, hosting community events, or offering personalized services that cater to individual needs and preferences. It's about making the shopping experience more engaging, more meaningful, and more memorable.
I'm starting to see the challenge here. It's not enough for Macy's to simply mimic what Amazon is doing online. They need to play to their strengths, leverage their unique assets, and find a way to create a truly differentiated shopping experience that resonates with today's consumers. It's about rediscovering their magic, so to speak, and reminding people why Macy's was once the undisputed king of retail.
You hit the nail on the head. It's about tapping into that nostalgia, that sense of history and tradition that Macy's embodies, while simultaneously embracing innovation and adapting to the changing demands of the modern marketplace. It's a delicate balancing act, but it's essential for their long-term survival.
Okay, so let's shift gears for a moment and talk about something that's top of mind for all retailers this time of year, the holiday season. We were discussing earlier how this investigation and the delayed financial outlook could impact Macy's holiday sales. Do you think this situation will make shoppers think twice before heading to Macy's for their holiday shopping?
It's definitely a possibility, and it all comes down to consumer perception. Shoppers are savvy and they're paying attention to the news. If they sense that Macy's is in trouble, that their finances are shaky, or that their reputation has been tarnished, it could absolutely make them hesitant to spend their hard-earned holiday dollars there, especially when there are so many other options available both online and offline.
So in a sense, Macy's is facing a crisis of confidence, both from investors and consumers. They need to act swiftly and decisively to restore trust and reassure shoppers that they're still a reliable and trustworthy retailer. But how do they do that? What steps can they take to regain that lost confidence, especially with the holiday season already upon us?
Transparency is paramount. They need to be upfront with consumers about the investigation, acknowledge any missteps, and outline the steps they're taking to prevent similar incidents in the future. It's about showing accountability, taking responsibility, and demonstrating a genuine commitment to ethical conduct. And they need to do all of this while continuing to offer compelling products, competitive prices, and a positive shopping experience.
It sounds like they're walking a tightrope, trying to balance damage control with business as usual, all while facing the pressure cooker of the holiday shopping season.
Precisely. The stakes are incredibly high. The outcome of this holiday season could have a significant impact on their future, both in terms of their financial performance and their overall brand reputation.
It's a pivotal moment for Macy's, and it's not just about their own fate. Their struggles reflect a broader trend in the retail industry, a shift in power dynamics, and a fundamental reshaping of the shopping experience as we know it.
You're absolutely right. The story of Macy's is a story about the evolution of retail, the challenges of adapting to a digital world, and the importance of understanding the changing needs and expectations of today's consumers.
And it's a story that's far from over. Stay tuned as we continue our deep dive into Macy's and explore the wider implications of their situation for the future of retail. We've been dissecting the challenges facing Macy's, but it feels like we're also uncovering some universal truths about the state of retail today.
Yeah, I agree. The story of Macy's is a powerful lens through which to view the entire retail industry. It's not just about the rise of online shopping, although that's a huge factor. We're seeing a fundamental shift in consumer behavior and expectations.
Instead of just saying consumer behavior is changing, can you give us something more concrete? What are people actually doing differently?
Well, think about it this way. A few decades ago, department stores were the ultimate destination for everything from clothes to home goods. Now consumers have more choices than ever. They can compare prices online, get personalized recommendations, and have products delivered right to their doorstep. Convenience is king.
Right. But Macy's is trying to offer convenience too, with things like buy online, pick up in store. So what's the missing piece?
It's about going beyond transactional convenience. Consumers, especially younger generations, crave experiences. They want to feel connected to the brands they support. They're looking for a sense of community personalization and a story they can buy into.
So it's not enough for Macy's to just offer the same products at a slightly lower price. They need to give people a reason to actually visit their stores.
Exactly. Think about a company like Sephora. They've mastered the art of creating an engaging in-store experience. With beauty workshops, personalized consultations, and a vibrant atmosphere, it's about making shopping an event, a social outing, a place where people can connect and discover.
That makes me think of another point we touched on earlier, technology. It seems like retailers need to find ways to use technology to enhance the in-store experience, not just compete with online giants.
Absolutely. Imagine walking into a Macy's and having a personalized shopping assistant on your phone, guiding you to the products you're looking for, offering style advice, or even alerting you to special promotions based on your past purchases. Technology can bridge the gap between online and offline, creating a seamless and personalized experience.
It sounds like the retailers that will thrive in the future are the ones who can seamlessly blend the physical and digital worlds.
Precisely. It's not about choosing one over the other. It's about creating a holistic shopping experience that caters to the needs and preferences of the modern consumer. And let's not forget the human element. Despite all the advances in technology, people still crave personal interaction and genuine connection.
So where does that leave Macy's? What's their path forward? Do they have what it takes to survive, let alone thrive, in this rapidly changing retail landscape?
Only time will tell. But they have a real opportunity to leverage their legacy, their brand recognition, and their vast network of stores to create a truly unique shopping experience. They need to be bold, innovative, and willing to take risks.
This whole conversation has been a real eye-opener. It's clear that the retail industry is at a crossroads, and the story of Macy's is a microcosm of the challenges and opportunities that lie ahead.
Yeah, it's a fascinating story, and it's far from over. I encourage all of you to keep an eye on how Macy's navigates these turbulent waters.
Right.
Their successes and failures will offer valuable lessons for the entire retail sector, and they'll ultimately shape the future of how we shop.
Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of retail, and a special thanks to our expert for sharing such insightful perspectives. We'll be back soon with another deep dive into a trending topic. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.